20% of retailing is now online, 90% will be influenced by the year 2020 by the online channel. He's the reason for that, because we have a generation of children growing up for who the internet is just a natural place for them to go. It's the first place they go when they're looking. They have an on-all-the-time connection at home, and they have a computer probably sitting in the living room that's connected to the internet. It's just easy for them to go there. Talking about easy, technology has made it so much easier for us as consumers to buy online. Go back 10 years, fixed computers, wired into a network at home. Then we've got laptops, so we're freed up from being at home. We've got Wi-Fi, but they're still a bit bulky. But of course now, how many people have got a smartphone in their pocket? See, the majority of us in this room, we're probably a biased audience actually, aren't we? But the majority of us in this room have got a smartphone in our pockets. And increasingly that's the case. Ray's got 3, I think, haven't you? Yeah, in his pocket. Don't ask me why. But the fact is, that's the way we now access the internet. Increasingly, that's the way that we access the internet. And it's just making it easy. That's the iPhone. There's the Android phone that Ray loves so much. But the fact is, these devices make it so easy for us to connect to the internet and use the internet when we're on the go. It's an all-the-time connection. It's easy to use. There's a full browser experience. And this, again, is changing the way that we operate as consumers, and again, the way that we communicate with retailers. And so as retailers, it changes the way that you can communicate with your customers as well. And now it doesn't matter where we are. If we're walking in the street, if we're commuting, we can access the internet. If we see something that interests us, we can pull the phone out, do some research. It's absolutely killing pub quizzes, of course, because you know all the answers, don't you? But the fact is, this is so interesting from a retail point of view, because it changes the way that you communicate with your customers. It means that, for example, through social networking sites, people are checking into locations. They can check into a shopping centre. They go to Westfield, they could check in. And that means if you're a retailer there, you have the opportunity, potentially, of communicating with a customer who you know is in your location and potentially wants to do business with you. You can send them a special offer, you can send them a deal. Just say hi to them. Remind them that you're there. Pretty much every product that you sell, pretty much every product that we buy, has a barcode on it. Well, these barcodes are becoming quite interesting. They used to be there just for identifying products from a stock and EPOS point of view. But now they're taking a role in terms of marketing and sales. Because using a little application or an app on a smartphone, you can utilize the camera within the phone. It turns itself into a barcode reader. You simply scan a barcode, pick up a product, scan a barcode, it will go away, it'll come back, do the research for you, tell you where you can buy that product and at what price. You might be horrified by this as retailers, that people are going to be walking around your store scanning your products. But just in the way that it's potentially a threat, it's also an opportunity. Because just as people might be scanning your products in your store, they may be scanning other people's products in other stores. And if you're on the internet, if your products are represented, then potentially you appear in that list. So instead of buying from them, they potentially buy from you. So there's another good reason for making sure that your products are represented so they can appear in these type of situations. That's enough for the first part. I'm going to hand over to Ray now, and he's going to give you the practical steps, the practical tips for establishing an e-commerce website.
Thanks very much, Nick. Just looking at the updated stats for IYG Capgemini, that literally just come in overnight, and we're seeing that every month the equivalent of every man, woman and child is spending about £80 online, and we're heading for 60 billion by the end of 2010. So the growth is still there and it's still relentless. My mission here is to give you some sort of clues. There's 2 checklists. We summarised this section in there in the clipboards. That there are 2 sections in there. One is selecting or changing or configuring with an e-commerce supplier, but also search engine optimization, so also finding a marketing supplier, and onwards and upwards down in the hall there, there'll be plenty to choose from. But the question that we get asked most of the time, and I've summarised it here, is what we were talking about earlier, is how do I get my share? It's all very well talking about the technology, but how do I get my share? And there are three key elements to it. Is to be a good retailer, you've got to research your marketplace. You've got to know what your products are, how they're going to fit, how people are going to find them. Absolutely essential. Going on the line is no longer the holy grail for finding customers. It's certainly an essential point for it, but you've got to do the legwork as a retailer. The second part of it is know your customers. Segment them. It could be the whole planet out there if you want it to be, but therefore you need to segment it to be able to reach them where they are. Nick has talked about social networking. That's the place to get to them in some instances. Depending on the product you're selling, where those people are, you need to trace them. It's no longer easy. Back in the days, about 10 years ago, marketing was straightforward. You either went to print, you went to TV, or you went on the radio. And your consumer was out there listening or watching one of those processes. Now, it is so fragmented, you've got to follow your particular niche markets and understand where they are. And they're the lucky ones because, in the main, they will receive that data on those smartphones that Nick has just shown them. The basics. Right, before we get started, there's been a lot of hoo-ha going on about a certain way that you get your systems delivered to you. And it's very similar to other systems you get delivered to you. You've got water, you turn on the tap, out it comes. It's a reasonably straightforward process. It's a utility. You don't think about it, and I'm sure either as a business or at home, you haven't got, other than the tank in the loft, a complete water treatment plant out there just in case the water fails. And you rely on the water company to actually give you that process. Similarly, electricity. You may have uninterruptible power supplies with your computers, but in the main you don't have a generator out in the back of your business or your home helping you just in case the power goes on. 230 volts is what they deliver, and you plug things in the morning, lights go on. A broadband in your home now is always on connection. It's now almost another utility. Going to a house, I should think amongst the things you look at is location, 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 and how fast is the broadband. But if you're talking about those things, also if you're relating that back to how you're going to run your e-commerce operation, then in the main it's going to be cloud computing. And it's also called software as a service, hardware as a service, on-demand services, hosted services. But in the main, it's all the same. That is, you're freed up of having the hardware to worry about. That is a utility, and you just worry about the application. It's all about the application. Here's an example of that. I have a cable example. Who knows about Spotify? Good hand for Spotify is an example of cloud computing. You have a small app on your smartphone or on your desktop computer, but in the main, everything is out there in the cloud. And it gives you, if you take the premium version, all the tracks you like that are on there, millions of tracks around, for just a maximum of £10 a month. It's very easy to do. It's a very straightforward application if you've got it on an Apple iPhone or an Android, or both in my case. You can get those tracks when you want, how you want. You don't have to pay for them separately. You don't have to pay for them individually. They just come along that service. The core software is automatically updated for you. You don't have to go and worry about that. You can download it or don't have to pay extra for it. It's all part of the service. And it's ubiquitous. It works on every device. If you go around a friend's house, you can download it and pull your playlist to your friends. That's what it looks like. It's a very simple interface. Things have been updated even more since we've done there. But you can search on artists, all the things you would normally do. But it's a software as a service solution. That's cloud computing. It's basically, we're saying the internet is out there, whether your databases, your code structures, your mobile access, in the kitchen sink. It's all going to be out there in the cloud. I wouldn't worry about it anymore. And that also provides you with the same routine, a utility service, when you're looking for what will probably be amongst all of the new e-commerce suppliers that are working out there. Go down the floor, you'll see it across the wall. Okay, that's that out of the way. We'll relate that back to the first part, which is researching your actual customer base. Google will provide you with those about insights for search. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any answer? 1, 2, 3. Right. Insights for search is Google inside out. It's basically, you put a search term in there, and to get to it, you just type in www.google.com/insights/search. And instead of getting the usual search term in the middle phrase, you can get this page here. Very easy to use. But what it will do is, instead of giving you where you can buy all sorts of product based on what you key in as a search term, it will tell you the information that Google knows about who else is looking for that product, what similar products are being looked for, how popular it is, where it is popular. So I put in a search term of an iPhone 4, and the first bit that comes back on me is the copy on the bottom. There may be a little bit of pre-press release, but there you go. D is the first instance, and D says Apple unveils iPhone 4. So Google will give you absolutely solid quality information about big hits that are out there, where you could ride on the back of other publicity, and also, the next page down, where that's happening. So if location is important to you, so if you've got a multi-channel business, and you've got a retail shop and you're looking for a physical area, it'll tell you that, even though this is an online service. It'll tell you the top searches. It'll tell you the rising searches. So if you're doing an iPhone 4, that is the one that is the most popular way of keying that in. So when you're researching, if you key in what you think your product is going to be searched for, it'll come back and tell you what it actually is being searched for. And that's free. Google are offering that as a free service. It may still be in beta, but it's free. And talks of searching, Google Analytics, or any form of analytics that provides you with a graphical interface of your information. You're all busy people. You can absorb images much faster than a whole screen of statistics. And I still see people supplying web stats as a whole range of numbers with totals on the bottom. Ridiculous. It should be graphics. Easy to absorb, even on the road, even on a smartphone. Okay, let's go into web design. You are limited on the first page. If you're getting someone to deliver to your site, you've got a limited amount of time to actually appeal to them on the home page. The home page is not an About Us page. If you do that, you've lost half of them. If they found you, they want to know how to get further into the site, and you need to give them a signpost to achieve that. You may start off with, we're a leisure company, so the look and feel is the first clue. Again, absorbed visually. Look and feel, this is a site about outdoor camping and leisure. And by the way, we're giving you free standard delivery. So the first call to action is there. You won't be charged anything above what you see the prices behind. In 3 or 4 seconds, what you can do, which you can't do on a printed page, is flip. So most of the real estate of that homepage is now changed to show you something that they want to advise you on big time. 3 seconds again is flipped to something else. You've got about 5 instances of that in the main before people lose interest even further. So there, the ability to get to those pages is fairly straightforward. So you're multiplying the real estate of your home page to do more than a single thing. But keep the calls to action limited and few, otherwise you'll confuse the customer. If anybody's gone to the big Amazon sites, you'll see that it's a little bit confusing at times. Keep it straightforward, keep it simple, keep it easy to see. Newer techniques, fly-up menus. So again, if you're just browsing as a consumer across that site, you just move the mouse in that section, it'll drop down automatically. So it's actually helping you. If you're looking at rucksacks, there's the sort of rucksacks we do. Move the mouse on, the next one comes out. Most good e-commerce providers will have those features built into the system. And when you develop your product, I'll show you that in a few minutes, then your products will automatically be inserted into that if you key them in correctly. Once you get into a page, help that search facility as well. So down the left-hand side, slightly off screen now, is again using the brands and using other delimiters to help people search. You want to affect that process. People have searched to get to you. They may search on that home page to get to a page. It's all about making that an easy, compelling process. People have got to feel they're getting somewhere with every click they make on your website. Down to a product page, less is more. If you look at ASOS, you look at other well-produced sites, ASOS will wearing the rules for the best overall retailer again. Focus on the product. They've got to the product page, focus on the product. Good images, multiple images. If necessary, a spin, as Nick will show you a bit later. But keep it straightforward. Again, because this is not a printed page,